Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I talk about random topics on the way to work. I think I got about 5 lined up for the weekend, so this should be fun. It's going to be a long weekend of just exporting and uploading. Yay! Probably boring the pants off you guys. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do swear a lot. Thankfully my flu is nearly gone now, so you won't have to deal with me hacking and sniffing and snuffling too much. So it's one less disgusting thing to listen to. Other than that, fuck. I like swearing, it's fun. Get to have fun with sounds and it scares people. Or offends them at least. You gotta make the day interesting, haven't you? Right. Topic for today is, and this is the Friday. Ooh, big truck. Big truck in the middle of the road. Why? Jesus. Yeah, fucking Jesus. The topic for today is self-love. Self-love. Hopefully it's not going to rain today. It's still very stormy. What can I talk about self-love? Self-love is where you are showing yourself respect, essentially. Yeah, you want to take your fucking side of the road, mate. Tits. Yeah, you want to show yourself self-respect. It is not all the time, but for a goodly amount, putting yourself first in order to make sure that you are looked after, even if no one else is doing it. So, not meaning to head in towards being a selfish prick, but to make sure that your ass is covered while you help other people. That's pretty much the crux of it, I think. I could be wrong. It's respecting yourself, and it's hard to do if you've been raised in any kind of circumstances where people-pleasing has been at the forefront of how you interact with people. You tend to sort of sacrifice self in order to put others first. Now that's a noble and nice way to look at things, but it also puts yourself at risk of not getting your needs met. When you're too, obsessed or enmeshed with someone else's reality, you do tend to get lost in the whole situation where even your basic needs are not being met. In an ideal world, when you're with someone, they're also, you might be giving to them, but they also are giving to you. So it's an equal state where everybody gets looked after. That's, an ideal world. But there's a lot of complexities to that, which makes it a bit difficult to, keep the ball rolling and ensure that you're getting looked after as well. So you'll find that sometimes, if you're anything like me, you'll find yourself in relationships or situations, whether it's love, friendship, work, where you'll sort of just throw yourself under the bus in order to maintain something for someone else. And I'm not saying that in a self-flattering kind of way, like, aren't I wonderful? I'm saying it's near enough a form of self-harm at this point, where I fuck myself over trying to be nice to other people. It's not a good thing. I need to find that balance where I look after myself as well as them. It is a form of self-harm to self-sacrifice to that extent. It's bordering on a martyr complex, really. This is not good. It's not good. I mean, you want to be seen as a nice person, or you want to be, even self-perceived as the nice person if you're not looking for external validation. But to be, deriding yourself just for the sake of saying I helped someone, or it's not healthy. And the alternative, of course, is going the other way, being a selfish prick. You don't want to do that either, because that just means that you don't look after anyone except yourself. You'll find yourself developing some kind of a narcissistic personality or something like that, where you're the center of the universe and everyone else can go jump. The egocentric me first bullshit, which I still fucking hate. So the way to show self-love is to somehow find a happy medium. Tricky, because you're looking around and you're saying, okay, what's everyone else doing? Or maybe that's just me because I got autism. It's like, all right, if I have to mask this, what do I need to mask it as? What's everyone else doing? But it's also good for picking up information and ideas. You won't go directly to someone and just copy them because it's ridiculous. They're not the same as you. They've not traveled the same life path, so your needs might be slightly different from theirs. It's no good misapplying their ways of giving self-love to your ways, your needs. It just won't fit. It's like the Cinderella issue. It's just not going to fit. fit. Glass slipper stuff. There's an analogy there. I'm frazzled today because it's Friday. So you've got to find things that you love and ways that you will feel comfortable with respecting yourself. Why is there a toilet on the side of the road? I'm heading into my old neighborhood. It's what? Why is that? Why? This random weird shit that turns out there's a toilet on the side of the road. It's like, what the fuck? So, my forms of self-love. Now, it's easy for me because I tend to be on my own. By choice or not choice, I don't know. But I hope by choice. But I'm an introvert, so I'm not particularly social, and I like spending time. My stutter's kicking in again. I know it's Friday because I'm tired, and it's just kicking in. So it's annoying. I know. I'm sorry. My forms of self-love tend to be introverted forms. I like spending time maybe with one other person, but I don't go out in huge groups looking for external validation and a sense of belonging. My self-love comes from mainly sensory things, actually, considering I'm autistic. I've noticed that around my house, the things I love are things that are like physical, that I can touch, and textures, smells, tastes. It's not a case of social interaction because I find that, triggers my generalized social anxiety. I don't like the double-faced antics of people in social circles. Well, they'll do one thing and they'll mean another. So that's not enjoyable for me. So I'm just sort of like, I'll just fucking stay away. It's like, I don't understand this. You seem to fucking like it. That, to me, self-love is staying away from that shit because I don't understand it. It's like, it's just making my brain hurt. Get away from me. So you'll find me on a weekend absolutely in heaven, fluffy blanketed, eating snacks and just rewatching shit. And I'm incredibly boring and old in that way because, I don't know, I'm nearly 40. It's like, we're leveling up to normal 40-year-old behavioral standards at this point. But I was doing this shit in my 20s as well. I'm like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to do all this weird shit. Even in my 20s, self-love on a social scene sort of thing was going out to the movies. I didn't, like, the ultimate was getting a shitload of junk food and going to a movie marathon, 3 movies in a row or something. It wasn't really the case of going out drinking and interacting with people and stuff like that. We had very different, even my friends weren't that way inclined. They didn't particularly go out drinking and shit like that. I don't know if it's just a bunch of autistics hanging around each other or something like that, or just introverts hanging around each other, but we didn't really do the whole social scene where we went out to pubbing and clubbing. I think I've been clubbing like twice in my life, and I didn't really like it. I was like, it's okay, I guess. It's not something I'd really crave going out and doing. On the upside, as an introverted person, you tend to save a lot more money. And you pick up a less emotional damage from social interaction. So less drama, or in my case, no drama. It's great. You just stay at home and you're fluffy and you watch your videos, or I've got DVDs still. I've got a DVD player. I'm that fucking old. I had VHS. It's like, oh my god. But no, I'm very home-centered because it feels like a safe place and I don't have to worry about other people's drama and shit. And it looks like isolation. To anyone that's an extrovert and a social butterfly, it looks like isolation. Either I've been ostracized and kicked out, doubtful, I left on my own free will in the last social group, I'm like, fuck this. Or, it's like I'm isolating. My mum thinks I'm isolated a lot. She's like, you just leave and separate yourself from people a lot. I'm like, yes, because I've seen the shit. And my form of self-love is to remove myself from the shit and not interact with it. It's protection, yes, but it's not a case of where I feel like I've been put upon. It's a case of I'm not interested. It's like, you just stay in your room all day. It's like, yeah, I didn't want to go out there. There's people-y out there. People-y bring problems. It's not like it's a house full of raccoons, which are adorably chubby and will snack with me. It's a bunch of people that bring drama and bullshit and a lot of fake shit. So I don't want to. I don't know if that's just me or introverts or all ASD kids, you know, it's like, I'm not interested, man. There's a lot of double standards and double entendres, and my form of self-love is to just not interact. I also have a strong penchant for sugar, so that's another form of self-love I've actually had to crack down on, because it's too easy for me to just become the food void for sugar. Yeah. So, you know, you could use that as a self-love thing. I've got to regulate that a bit better. Come birthdays, Halloween and Valentine's Day or anything like that, I just go a bit crackhead on sugar. So that's a form of self-love, but it's got to be a regulated one. That's just habitual. That's anything like that. I am a sugar addict. But at the same time, anything like social self-love, you got to find things that are healthy forms of self-love, not leading towards narcissism. If you're an extrovert who likes the social scene, I would suggest make sure you surround yourself with people that won't feed your ego to the extent where you become a narc. It's not a healthy situation where you're surrounded by sycophants. Celebrities are often surrounded by sycophants, and they're just yes men, or yes people I should say. And they never get questioned on their actions, because everybody just sort of gets caught up in the whole bandwagon that is their reality, their PR stunts. And so nobody, even when they're doing stupid shit, will turn around and say, well, that was a bad idea. Because they don't want to be kicked out of the bandwagon that's the group. You can find this in social settings on a minor level. Not with all the media drama and all that shit. Although everyone's got a Facebook, so everybody's posting shit. If you find your need to get external validation, some people sit on it. I can't stand it. I don't like attention. To me, attention brings problems. So I'm happy to sit in the background which is a bit cloak and dagger, but you know, it's about as villainous as I get. This is like, I like being the wallflower. I like watching people. Not really keen on interacting with them because they're drama and their baggage. I've got my own baggage to deal with, which is proving interesting in trying to find someone who's like me. It's like, come and be a wallflower with me, so we don't have to talk to people. We might talk to each other for a little bit, but not a lot. I just like the quiet ones. Ideally, I would like to find someone who's like quiet but has good manners. We could be friends. Do you like snacks? Good. How do you feel about raccoons? Awesome. Let's go. We could be friends. I am not an extrovert. I don't like social attention. I think I sent some mixed messages with the last social group I went in, though, because I was dressing to be with the person I was with, for example, which came across as a bit extroverted, I think. A mixed message, which pissed off the actual extroverts, I think, because they saw me as an attention threat. I'm going, dude, if you only knew the fucking truth. If you only knew how much I want to hide right now. You know? And they didn't like me for that. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm doing this for him. If he wasn't here, I wouldn't be doing it at all, which is true. As soon as I ditched him, my ex-boyfriend, I stopped doing it. It's just, it wasn't in my nature to do that kind of stuff anyway. I would do it for a partner, don't. But anyway, that's a different conversation, and I'm going off on a tangent. How do you show self-love in a healthy way? Now, healthy self-love in a psychological sense could be a case of setting up boundaries, making sure that your boundaries are being upheld to ensure that nobody fucks you over, or nobody treads on your toes and makes you feel like shit. Healthy boundaries saying, I know my self-worth. I'm not going to allow other people's behaviors, interactions to shape how I feel about myself, because you're not worth it. If the second I don't feel good about what I'm doing, it's going to undermine my confidence in what I need to do. And I'm not saying be an arrogant shit. I am saying that recognize what you should be doing in a moral sense, ethical sense, and in a productive, constructive sense. And work towards that progressively. Don't let the haters get to you. Haters don't get taters. They don't get fries either. You just got to recognize what the potential conflict situations that could arise in your surrounds as well. There's a lot of people that are insecure that will want to make you insecure about what you're doing, particularly if it's incredibly constructive and a positive effect on other people, maybe setting as a role model. They will try to undermine that because they don't have to put the effort in, or they maybe don't feel like they could put the effort in. And so they'll sort of drag you down. It's very much tall poppy syndrome, if you wanted to Google that condition. It's a sociological term where people will see someone excelling, they'll feel insecure about their own achievements and then try to fuck them over to make themselves look better because, you know, once you've pulled someone down, of course you're going to be slightly higher than them. Self-love is distancing yourself away from those people, what in America they call haters. Ignore the haters. It's like sometimes the haters are justified though, because sometimes you're doing stupid stuff. But you gotta, you know, reason that out and weigh it up in your own mind and see whether your actions are actually, you know, hate-worthy, or if they're just, you know, they're people just being insecure. We never really know, but you should always take everything with a grain of salt anyway, because, you know, that old saying, pride before the fall. It's like, even if you think you're doing well, there's always a chance you could fail, so don't get up your own arse. You know? Up your own arse is an Australian term, I think. It's a very technical term. Definitely psych-based. Don't get up your ass, mate. Don't be a fucking idiot. Yeah, you don't want to be an arrogant shit when you're putting any boundaries for self-love, because sometimes people will tell you you're fucking up. They might not find the most tactful way of saying it, and you might not be the best person at receiving constructive criticism, but you got to self-regulate. Part of self-love is also acknowledging your weaknesses and possibly showing some humility. Not just outright saying, no, fuck you, I'm right, and fuck everyone else because I'm going to keep going. I mean, there is a hint of margin of error you've got to address. Just to be realistic. No one is perfect. So, you know, I'm not saying delve completely into it and just give up altogether and say, my life is a fucking mess, I'm just not going to try anymore. But I will say, take it on board and consider what they mean by it and what they stand to get out of it by addressing these things. As I said before, everybody's got a motive. Hopefully it's a wholesome one. There are different forms of self-love. There are some people who misuse the concept of self-love to drive egocentric based bandwagon, where they will manipulate other people to do their bidding, which is horrible. It's a bit evil genius kind of thing. That's all to do with like trauma bonding as well, where people set the tone for, this is my form of self-love, you have to be compliant, otherwise fuck you, I'm out. There's two ways to take that. One is a good, okay, so you're setting boundaries kind of way, and the person who's facing these boundaries that you've set up needs to address whether they are able to exist within the confines of these boundaries that you've set up and still interact with you. The other is to be a selfish prick and say, fuck you, I'm getting my way, or you will lose me. That's what my ex-husband did. When he gave me that ultimatum about having an open marriage. These are my boundaries. Comply or I'll leave. Actually, he threatened to leave, so I did. I don't fake shit. If I say I'm going to leave, I leave. His was an empty threat, mine wasn't. I didn't threat, I just did. That's the really horrible, sinister way of looking at self-love, because he was covert narc. He was so used to getting his own way. Within the 16 years we were together, he was always getting his own way. I barely questioned it because I wanted to maintain the relationship. My own fault. But at the same time, he took it for granted and assumed I'd be compliant with his request. I'm sitting there thinking, at this point, this is calling into question my morals now. I'm not changing my morals because you want to get your dick wet. So I left. Little DeVito memes in my head, so I came out blasting. Fuck you guys. Or the other one, so I took that personally. And I left. You know, it's just, there are some things that are non-negotiable, and that's a form of self-love as well. My morals and standards and internal alignment are non-negotiable. There's no way of weaseling into making me drop those. I will not be happy with someone who cheats on me. I will not brush that under the rug. There are a lot of personality traits that I will seek to push under the rug because I know everyone's different and I like to be compliant. I'm pretty inclusive in who I consider in my vicinity for the most part, but when it comes to morality, infidelity, things like that, no, non-negotiable. It's like, I'm not gonna, just because I've known you and loved you and been with you for 16 years does not mean that you get to do that to me. That's a hell no. At that point I had to choose myself over him. After 16 years of choosing him over me, my bad, I didn't even meet him halfway with a lot of the stuff. He assumed I would go along with this one as well, and I was like, no, this is a pretty big one, and it broke the camel's back, so you fucked yourself there. I'm showing myself self-love, and you are just fucking off. The other way, the more innocent way, is protecting yourself. So you saw two sides of self-love there. Me protecting myself, which is the more positive way, psychologically speaking. I protected myself from something that was not fitting for me, which could have been potentially derogative and abusive, had I gone through with it. Had I just sat with it and said, okay, whatever, hubby. And the more sinister way of, I'm going to inflict damage on someone regardless of the consequences, even though I claim to love them, because this is what I want and you have to be fine with it. It's the ultimatums made that the crux. It was the fulcrum in the lever system was the ultimatum between positive self-love and negative self-love. It's an interesting analogy. Anyways, it's a fulcrum. Does anyone know physics and fulcrums and loads and levers? Do we still learn that anymore? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a teacher, I should know. But, you got to find ways which are constructive. When you know the outcome is going to be harmful, there's no point sitting around waiting for it to get better. Because chances are it might not. People often come to find that their partners, if they're abusive for the small things, will tolerate shit with the small things, and then gradually it snowballs into the big things. At what point do you draw the line and say, no, I have to show my self-respect now and say, fuck off? Same with my ex-boyfriend. It's like, at what point do I show self-respect now that I've got concrete evidence that this isn't going to work? And I say, fuck off. It's a constant game of saying, like, weighing up which path is better. It's like, do I look after this person or do I not look after this person? You got to find that medium. If it was ideal relationship, for example, it would be a case of equal give and take, equal input and output. Both parties looking after each other in an equal state. That's the ideal, really. I mean, every now and again you'll go, but it's never like, the extremes shouldn't exist. Where it's just like, or it's like a seesaw and just one person's just sitting on the floor all the time, It should be around about level. Those problems arise when people won't allow it to be level. They don't want to put in. That's when you got to start questioning, my self-love is better than your love, because your love clearly isn't meeting my needs. It's clearly not ethical. So I'm going to take my self-love and bounce. Strangely, for my ex-boyfriend, all my self-love was like money-based, resource-based, sex-based. It was pretty interesting to cut off the shit that he was exploiting. I mean, half the shit didn't really have a weighted value to me. Money you can make again. Sex wasn't great. I'm like, you obviously see something I'm not. It's they put so much value into this shit that they can exploit you for, where they will fuck you over to ensure they get their supply. But once you come out of it, you'll be absolutely fine because you're not losing anymore. But I never really had a weight in any of that shit anyway. It was there, but it's like, it's not valuable. The thing that I wanted out of that relationship was love. Never got it. Never got it. He simulated a fake version of affection. Told me he adored me. Never actually told me he loved me. Never went so far as to say, those 3 words. Or anything close to at this point. You sit there and think, you're breadcrumbing me, hoping that if I hear those words, I'll stay longer and give you what you want. But, you know, in the end, you have to value how, you know, your weight in this equation and saying, no, I'm not taking this shit anymore. Self-love is also, you know, you can always also transfer into keeping your body and not just your mind, but your body healthy. You want to make sure that your body is feeling well, that you don't feel like shit. So even though you might do things like go to the gym and you might feel tired afterwards, you know that it's a good thing because your body needs to be healthy. That's a form of self-respect as well. It's not just a case of separating yourself from harmful people. It's also separating yourself from harmful behaviors and substances, which sorry, it's Friday, my brain's gone. Substances and behaviors and sources of damage that could be derogative to the lifestyle and the lifestyle choices that you want to make. You got to think long term with things like the gym. Everybody's used to that instant gratification. If I can't get it the first time, I don't want it. But things like the gym and even saving up your money and stuff like that is a long-term situation. You got to look little bits every day and work towards the major projects. That takes time and patience and self-love. But once you actually get there, it's incredibly fulfilling because you know you've achieved something. You know the effort and the work you've put in. You know it's going to be worth it. And you're going to get what you want. And you know, you could lord it over other people to a certain degree because they're not willing to put the effort in. If you want to be a little shit. I don't know. Yeah, I did this. No, I'm just thinking of schoolyard kids. Don't do that. It's silly. I got biceps. But yeah, no, don't do that. Because the alternative to putting too much effort into the gym and becoming an arrogant shit is also narcissism, just like my ex-husband. So you don't want to do that either. Towards the end of the marriage, he was so fucking obsessed with my abs, my arms, my body. What do I look like when I do this? What do I look like when... Oh, fuck off, mate. So you don't want to go too far into that. And you want to show some humility in that and be grateful with the gains you've got. Be grateful. Well, the divine will start introducing injuries. Fuck you, no gym for you. No, I need it for my vanity. That's not why I go to the gym. I go to the gym for mental health. Anything after that is just like a bonus. But I think if you go and listen to my PDS podcast, I think it's in the green list, you'll understand why I go to the gym. It's not for vanity. It's a case of I need to because otherwise I'm going to lose my shit. But it's just the right thing to do as well. It's a form of self-love. When I was separated and divorcing, I was incredibly stressed and I was told and diagnosed as having depression, and I didn't recognize it at the time because I wasn't sleeping. I was constantly crying and shit like that, and I was like, my tryptomania had gone AWOL, so it's just like I was anxious all the time and, you know, stuff like that. I was told I had depression. I'm assuming the psych knew better. It's like, I don't feel it. But, you know, it helps me regulate things because I had a direct purpose and somewhat of a distraction from the magnitude of the shit that was going on around me. It gave me focus and helped me get rid of some anxious energy. It gave me something to look forward to. It made me feel like I was achieving despite losing everything. So you got to look for the little wins in the self-love situations as well. I tried to see the positive in things. Rather than look at my world collapsing around me, I saw it as a chance for it to regrow in the way that I wanted it to regrow. This time, no distractions, no one telling me how it should look, or what I need to do, or who I should be, or what I should wear, all that extra crap that came along with a shitty ex-partner I had. It was my turn to decide, and I loved it. That got me through separation and divorce. The circumstances were absolutely shit, because yes, I was homeless and in debt, but at the same time, there's always, you just created this huge space for what could be. And that's what I looked at rather than the negative sides of things. That was a form of self-love, to keep a positive mindset, a growth mindset, not just everything's fine, false positivity shit. I want you to actively keep that positive mindset, but also look for ways to develop it into practical, tangible examples of what you want your reality to be. Don't just sit in your misery and cry. Cry? Yeah. I couldn't stop crying. It came in waves of like 2 years. Even after that, actually, it came in waves. But at the same time, I was still working constructively through that, and my form of self-love in that regard was to rebuild, and rebuild stronger than, you know, this asshole that abandoned me had left me in, and had seemingly no conscience for doing it. You sit there and you think, why the fuck would you do this to me after all this time and loyalty and all this shit? There's no point playing the victim in that role. What you're going to do is you've been given a brand new start, a clean canvas. Get up and make something with it. Fuck it. I mean, how many people get bogged into circumstances they can't fucking stand because they haven't been given the chance to have their complete existence wiped out? Why does that not sound right? Gee, I wish my life would just fall apart. This is maybe a weird way of looking at it optimistically, I don't know. But it was a chance to do what I wanted to do, and, you know, forced into it, but still a chance to do what I wanted to do, which was a blessing in disguise. It feels like shit at the time, it feels like a curse, but it was at the time a blessing in disguise. You're given the opportunity to develop yourself and show self-love, in that you reconstruct your reality as you want it to be, not dictated to by an asshole with insecurities. And it was great. That's a good way to look at it. I think I could be a bit more naive and stuff, but, you know, having lived it, I'm pretty confident in the way I handled that. As arrogant as it sounds, aren't I wonderful? Fuck it, we're going with that. But no, you got to respect yourself, man. If you know that you're heading into circumstances that you can fathom this is not going to be good for you, you want nothing to do with, don't sit in it. It's a disrespect to yourself to be putting up with that shit. You're an autonomous adult. People only have control over you as far as you consent to let them have control over you. Hello. She looks miserable today. Okay, probably because she's standing in the rain. But you have a choice. This is why we were given by the divine. We were given free will. You don't have to take that shit. Not at all. Not at all. You're allowing them to do this to you. I mean, if it's an issue of consent to have control over something, then you're only, pretty much shitting on yourself by allowing them to do it. I shat on myself by allowing my ex-husband and ex-boyfriend to treat me that way. Then I showed myself self-love, put up boundaries, rebuilt my status, my life conditions and everything like that, and got on with it. Oh, the tree. Gotcha. No, I gotcha. I'm going to go this way. I've just figured out why everybody's not parking under that tree. Because it will crush your car. So will that one. I might park on the outside, actually. Fuck it. Ooh, aquaplane. I don't like that. What's that one? That's a good... Yeah, no. Our staff parking has a whole bunch of big ass old trees in my old area that are just not, they need a chop, but it's not, school doesn't have the money to order someone to do it. Basically, it's an old school, it's a low SES school, and someone needs to come in and do it, but they don't have the money, and it's not funded by the government properly. So yeah, how do I feel about the education system department at this point? But anyway, you got to show yourself self-love, and that's not a case of I'm going to eat like 10 packets of Tim Tams to make myself feel better about a shit situation. You got to make healthy choices. Look the shit circumstances itself, and what can you do to remedy it? Either remove it or fix it or tweak it or do what you can. Don't sit there and try and medicate with food or drugs or alcohol or sex, or it's not going to fix it. It will give you short-term pleasure, and it will still be a problem at the end of it. There's a lot of instant gratification we've become so used to, because it's that everything's quicker these days. Everything with technology has been quicker. Everything, you look through TikTok reels or Instagram reels, and everything's flick. We're so used to that. I need it now, need it now, that when it comes to anything that's worth anything, people aren't interested in putting in the effort or the energy. It's just like, why can't I just have it now? Because shit takes time. Good shit takes more time. Anyone who's sat a uni degree 4 years takes real long fucking time and effort and concentration, patience and persistence, and a lot of money at sometimes, you know. It's like, yeah, but I want it now. It's like, no, it's not worth anything if you get it now. You can have the piece of paper, but it won't be the value of the 4-year degree or anything like that. So, you know, things take time. Don't get into the habit of expecting things instantly. Be pleasantly surprised if you get it instantly, because that's always a nice treat. But you need to put effort in. If you want something bad enough and you want it, you'll put the energy in to make sure you get it. Don't expect free rides. I'm sorry, I know it sucks because we're all like, oh, it'd be nice if you did. But free rides, they're just not there. They don't exist. And that's a natural inclination in anything in nature. I mean, look at the energy animals have to put in just to find food. It's like we're so used to convenience and not having to put in energy. Don't get out of that habit, because it's too easy a trap to fall in and just not achieve anything because you're waiting for the instant gratification and it never turns up, and so you don't try anymore. Anyway, I'm gonna have to leave it there. If you're going to show self-love, make sure it is a healthy, constructive form of self-love that doesn't involve hurting anyone else. It's got to be, you know, it's got to be without negative fallout if you can. Absolutely without negative fallout if you can. If there is negative fallout because you've shown self-love, for example, by leaving a person or leaving a job or leaving circumstances, and it's got some negative fallout like being homeless like I did, or financial loss as I did, then, you know, recalibrate. Don't be so negative about it, hopefully. I say that, but everyone's different. Try and constructively find a way to rebuild your existence where you're happy with the outcome. You honestly, even if you're on your own, you get abandoned by your family, your kids, everyone, you now have the chance and choice to actually decide what you want to be. Maybe you didn't get, you know, your kids in a custody battle. You've been given the freedom to have your own time. If your partner is willing to take the kids full time, and all you have to do is pay for it, there's something there. I mean, you could fight if you really want your kids. This is a very niche topic. I don't know why this came to mind. I don't have kids. Anyway, someone is channeling me right now. If you have, you know, you've been given more time to do what you want to do. It's almost like you've been given a second life. If you've had a kid and found out that it's not yours, you've definitely been given a second chance. I mean, you might have wasted a shitload of money on, I don't know, child support for a kid that's not yours, and you can't recoup that back, obviously, because it's assumed paternity by not contesting it, which is really stupid, because you should, if it's your kid, you should always get a paternity test. Clearly the mother would know if it's, you know, her kid, but, you know, just for insurance sake policy sort of thing. You can't recoup your losses, but at the same time, you've been given a clean slate to figure out what you want to do with your life, what projects you want to pursue. A lot of guys will get bogged down because I didn't get my kids. I'm sitting there thinking, no, but you got a second chance at life, didn't you? Did you really? Even if you don't get those kids, if you really want to have kids as a family, as a solid family unit, find someone else and have kids. It's no one can stop you doing that now. You know, if that's what you want, but make sure you've got, you know, the shit to back it up, that you can provide for those kids and not fuck around and find out. It's the way people get so sucked into the, I can't, I'm hurt, but you're not looking at the possibilities of what could be. Don't get sucked into the negative stuff, man. I mean, if that's what you want, go for it. You might not be able to have the partner that has your kids. She's obviously gone off and decided this isn't what I want. Or maybe the male has kept the kids and a woman's on her own. That happens. Absolutely, you get to decide, and you got all this time and freedom to figure out what you want to do with your life, reconstruct. You just like go off and have kids with someone else. I don't know. That's a particularly niche example, but at the same time, people look at their life just being destroyed, but not see the positive sides of things. Show yourself some self-love, redirect your actions, and figure out what you want in life. Possibly this was an example where your life was so fucked up that even the universe intervened and had to step in and say, wait, you're not catching my drift, buddy. You're ignoring my towers. Here's a death card. Suck it up. This is happening. You didn't pay attention. Now you have to pay the cost. And you learn your lesson and you pay off your debts and you get on with it. You try something new, something different. Maybe you've found after post-divorce, post-losing kids, post-losing family or whatever, that you actually do have a different purpose in life and you're supposed to follow that one instead. And you got sort of distracted and side distracted by this family unit stuff and getting sucked into situationship, which eventuated in kids and a family. I don't know. Where are these examples coming from? Oh my God. Someone's sending me messages. I don't know who this is. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it there. It's Friday. I'm tired. I'm caffeinated. I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday. It's Freya's day. Embrace the magic. She's beautiful woman goddess who wants to help us and love us and look after us. I suggest Googling Freya. She's one of my family things. I was also born on Freya's day, so I love it. She's my awesome mum figure. Take it easy. Have a great weekend if I don't see you. It's going to be a good one. I hope you have a fantastic Friday.